What is going on today, guys? Tomcat here, and today you join me in The Crew 2. Now, The Crew 2, obviously being the follow-up to the first game, The Crew, and there are so many things to go over here, so many that I am so excited. Also, do keep in mind this is a work in progress build of the game, so just make sure you guys know that as we go forward into the video. Also, make sure to click the link in the description below to check out more about The Crew 2. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into talking about some of the different aspects that I really enjoyed about the game. First of all, the updates to the handling. Now, you will see some spots in this race where I do either take the wrong line or go off track. I almost said off track, more like off the road and into a wall, like you see there, but it's all kind of in the process of figuring the game out and learning the new physics and just learning how everything works. Another thing that I feel needs to be talked about here is the jumps. The jumps are freaking crazy. Like, you would never think that, I mean, when I went around that corner and saw the jump, I was like, are you serious? And they were like, yeah, bro, we're completely serious. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be good. So, the main thing, though, is, you know, you have the jumps, you have all these crazy little touches here and there, but the main thing that I experienced from driving around the city especially was how alive everything felt, with the pedestrians, the traffic, the lighting, how everything responded. Everything it feels very dynamic and very high energy. There's a very high energy to this world and to this environment, and I think that it really helps the game a lot. This moment right here, I freaked out when everything started to twist and bend, and they were like, it's boat time, and I was like, I'm down, bro. But watching the city twist back, like, down to the other side, it's a little trippy. But I will say that's definitely a cool thing. The first few times you see it, you're like, okay, yeah, the game is different. The game feels new. It feels different. If there are people out there that think it's gonna be like, oh, this is just another, you know, update to the first game, it's not. I mean, as you're seeing right now, the boats are first of all insane. They're a lot of fun to drive. I was a little bit concerned that they wouldn't be that fun to drive, but they're actually super fun to drive. They really did get it right with the boats and the planes as well, obviously, as you'll see later. And the cars have been completely reworked. The handling with the cars has been completely reworked, and it's been reworked for the better. The handling feels so great. I mean, of course, if you're expecting simulation type style, that might not be what we're looking for, but this is very nice and straightforward and smooth and feels great. And also, the nice thing about the boats, and obviously the cars and the planes as well, is that they're very inviting. The handling is inviting. It's not super intimidating to get into. The nice thing, though, is if you really practice with it, you can get very good at it, but it's also not difficult at all to get into and get into the flow of. By the way, I love the fact that they put the jumps in the water. I think that's so awesome. I think it's so cool that they actually added that to the boat races. Now, with planes, yeah, planes were the main thing that I was really interested in checking out. I was, of course, interested in checking out the cars and the boats as well, but the planes, when they put you in the plane, you're like, and at least for me, I'm not the best at flying planes in video games. I'll just go ahead and tell you guys that straight up. I've never been the best at flying planes in video games, but I was actually able to pick this up a lot easier than most of the other games that have planes that I've ever played. It was really easy to pick up, really easy and straightforward to fly these planes, and I will admit that my line there was a little weird and kind of a little off, I will say. But I think the main thing for me is that you have a sense of control. You don't feel like the plane is going all over the place. You don't feel like it's hard to manage. You really do have a nice sense of control here, and that adds to the overall experience because you're not really worried about crashing into things as much as you're just focused on flying. So that's one of the main takeaways that I had from flying the planes, is that the accessibility of the planes in particular was really good. So now to dive into a part of the game that I was personally very, very, very curious about, the off-road aspect. And let me just say straight up that the off-roading in the game has really been, it's really been updated and it's been turned up. It really has been turned up. Everything has been improved here. The feeling of your suspension when you're off-road, you really feel the bumps. You also really feel the trees when you hit them. I don't know why I decided to hit so many trees. And I'll go ahead and let you guys know straight up, right up front, I ended up hitting a lot of trees in this race. And I don't know why. Usually I'm a little bit better about that, but for some reason, I guess I was magnetized to trees this race. But anyways, back to the race at hand. Really, the only things you have to, really the only directions you have to go in races like this, that was, I don't know why I didn't steer to the left. Anyways, really all you have to do is make sure you get to these checkpoints, and other than doing that, like, you can go whatever way you want. There's no set route you have to follow for this specific type of race. And let me just say also, this buggy handled super, super well. I mean, it would have been cool if it was a little bit, maybe a little bit faster, but that's something we can sort out later down the road, like with actual, like, you know, in-game upgrades and things like that. But regardless, yeah, more freaking trees. I mean, I know it's a woods, but damn, dude. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about with the off-roading is you can see how much dust and dirt is being kicked up, and it's actually, there's quite a lot of it. I mean, if you think about it, normally you see in a lot of games, a little bit of dust and dirt gets kicked up, but not quite to this level, which is cool because it helps with that immersion factor. It also helps just bring the overall quality and the overall detail of the game up visually. Now, I completely, like, I didn't see that ramp until literally when I was right on top of it. If I had known it was there earlier, I would have gone straight for it, but again, there is a little bit of a learning curve to figuring out your way through the woods when you're doing these races for the first time, because you really kind of think about these things and you're like, you just see the checkpoint and you're like, okay, I'm going that way. Normally, at least that's how I play them. I normally just look at the checkpoint and I go that direction, and sometimes it lands me in trees. Other times, it works out really well. It's one of the, you could also stay on the road, and it would probably be a better strategy, but I think for my strategy, it's more along the lines of, I'm gonna head for the I'm gonna head in the direction of the event, and if the route is clear, then I'm gonna win. If the route isn't clear, then I'll probably hit a tree and come last. Now, switching up to the GT3 RS, driving it down these beautiful country roads is another thing that I wanted to show you guys, because the lighting is not just awesome in the city, but it's gorgeous throughout the countryside. These country roads also give a really, really nice environment to experience the handling and experience the physics of the car, because yes, you can, obviously, if you mess up, yes, you can go off the road, but I think the main thing that I felt and the main thing that I took away from the physics in The Crew 2 is basically they're so much smoother. They're so much smoother. Everything plays smooth. And I think if there's one word that I can use that sums up how everything feels and the updated feel of everything, is just, it's all so smooth. And that's something that really, I think a lot of people, myself included, really like. I mean, if a game plays smooth, or as smooth as a game can play, is generally always going to make it feel better. And that is absolutely the case here. And dude, I freaked out when I saw that bear. Oh my god. I freaked out, and I was like, then the deer, and then, like, the fact that there's animals that run out from the side of the road. The first time you see one, you're going to jump. I jumped. I jumped, and I almost dropped my controller. So it's just moments like that that you're going to have to, get, not only you're going to have to get used to, but it's going to be like, whoa, that's new and different and cool. Okay, it keeps you on your toes. It really does keep you on your toes and keeps you thinking ahead, and keeps that idea in your mind of like, oh, an animal might jump out right now. So when you have thoughts like that in your mind, it makes the experience a little bit more tense. I wouldn't say it makes it stressful or anything, but it definitely makes it a little bit more tense and a little bit more on edge, so that you really stay keen to everything that's going on. You're like, oh, okay, I really have to pay attention here. But that has been a look at The Crew 2. You can also see, if you switch to a plane, lane at the wrong time, you will crash. And you will crash very quickly. But that has been a quick look at the Crew 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have another video coming out that will be a much more in-depth look at the physics, a much more in-depth look at explaining to you guys how the game actually does feel, with a little bit of tips and tricks as far as how to handle some of the vehicles. But regardless, I hope you guys did enjoy this first look at the Crew 2. If you did, don't forget to leave me a like. Tell me in the comment section down below what you guys thought of it. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys next time. Talk to you all later.